After writing 2 transformational books myself and supporting many other beings to do the same, I've become enthralled by the deep and mysterious magic that's activated when we choose to say yes to ourselves and commit to the book writing journey. Of course, we want to inspire change and new perspectives in our readers, but the transformation that happens as an author, both throughout the writing process and by actually releasing your book into the world, is surprisingly potent. I know I've been blindsided in the most disruptive and delicious ways by some of the changes my books have brought into my life. Writing a book is like casting a spell. Although we can never be completely sure what's going to be unleashed during the process, we choose to do it anyway. This Unbound one is a heroic journey. Each book has the potential to be a magical portal, a doorway to a new world, both for you and your reader. Each book has a very specific medicine that it's here to share with us. And each book gives us the opportunity to alchemize the magnificent imperfection of our experience into gold. The truth is that anyone can write a book. We could all get a few thousand words down and put them together. But what fascinates me is what happens when we allow the book writing process to go deeper. When we say, fuck it, get naked and dive way down beneath the surface. Letting go of the shoulds and any need to be acceptable, sensible, or approved of. What fascinates me is what happens when we make ourselves fully available to being transformed by the very act of writing a book. This is Unbound Writing, and this is the process we'll be exploring together here in the Unbound Writers Club. I'm Nicola, author and founder of the Unbound Press, and I help magical beings to write the transformational book they're really here to write at this time. I'm your guide here in the Unbound Writers Club, and the aim of this podcast is to help you to feel supported, encouraged, activated as you embark on your book writing journey. Whether you're a first-time author or have many books out in the world, my hope is that you will find something here to inspire you. Let's dive in. So today in the Unbound Writers Club, I'm taking you behind the scenes of my own writing process, or specifically completing the manuscript for my next book, which is called The Abundant Author. I'm hoping, well, more than hoping, it is going to be released in October. And right now I am in that part of the process where it's like the first draft is complete and I am like bringing together, like I say, the completed manuscript. And I want to take you behind the scenes because I feel like it is so helpful, or I know it's helpful to hear from other writers, other creators, like what their process is like and what comes up at different stages of the process. So I see this happening in the Unbound Writing community, particularly when we had the Unbound Writing Mastermind out, or in the new program, Birth Your Transformational Book, where people are at different stages of their process, and hearing from somebody else who is further along can be really helpful in terms of providing inspiration, but also highlighting any kind of resistance, anything that feels challenging that can come up along the way. Because when we hear about that from other writers, from other authors, it makes us realize we're not alone in it. And we can feel alone in our process, particularly when challenges are bubbling up. And this is what I have been experiencing actually over the past week or so. So I wanted to come on and share a little bit with you about the kind of flavor of bullshit, basically, that can come up when we get towards completing our books. Because this is where the rubber really hits the road. For a long time on your book writing journey, and particularly when you're at the beginning of the process, it's like completion feels way off. So we don't even have to think, we don't have to think about it. We can still have fears and doubts bubbling up around it, even, before we even start writing our books. But generally we can put it over there and just think, I'll worry about that when I get to it. And, we can just be in the creation process, like letting the writing coming through, which is absolutely what I encourage you to do. Then when we start getting to a point where it's like, okay, so I think I'm getting pretty close to finishing this thing. And this is when our kind of gremlins, our mind gremlins, can really start getting loud, because like the stakes feel higher at this stage. We know that we're at a point where pretty soon our book will go from being something, we've been in relationship with our book, we've been creating it, it's pretty much just been for us. Like, you might have shared some pieces with other people. One of the things I encourage or invite Unbound writers to do as they move closer to completion is, perhaps invite some beta readers to read your manuscript. But it's been generally a pretty personal process. And now you get to a point where it's like, you start to really imagine and know that your book is going to be making its way into the hands of your readers. And that can feel pretty terrifying, to be honest. And all of this stuff can start to bubble up around, like, is this good enough? Have I been kidding myself, thinking that I should write this book? What will people think of me? And, what was coming up for me with this manuscript for The Abundant Author, because I'd written or completed like a pretty good first draft by the end of February, which was my intention. And my intention throughout March, like I'm recording this on March the 11th, is to have a manuscript completed by the end of this month, so it can be passed over for editing. Like I say, we're looking at a release date in October. And in my mind, I was thinking, there is still so much to do. Like, obviously I knew what was in the first draft, but, I'd been bringing different sections together. I'd been like piecing together bits of writing that, this book has been in process for a couple of years, really, as it's been becoming more clear around what it wants to be. And so I'd been, kind of, like I say, piecing different sections of the book together. And when you do that, sometimes it's hard to get a clear sense of exactly what's there. So I was kind of operating in the unknown a little bit. And in my mind, I was thinking there is still so far to go with this. Like, I need to write a lot more. I need to change a lot of what's there. It's not up to scratch. This is what was going on in my mind. And there was part of me thinking, I don't know, maybe I need to start again, because it just feels pretty shit. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is when I came back to my first draft, I took myself on a book date a couple of days ago and thought, right, I'm going to look at what's here and, really see what I need to do, like how I can move forwards with it, and started reading through it. It's like, oh, actually, this is not shit at all. It is actually okay. You could even say it's pretty good. And there is not much more for me to do here. Now, like I say, the reason I'm sharing this with you is this is kind of a rite of passage, like a stage we can go through when we're moving towards completion. We can get to this point where it's like, like this is all complete rubbish. I just need to rip it up and start again. It would be better if I did that. And I think it's important to know that this can come up, because when we know it, when we're almost like expecting it, we can just like breathe with it and give ourselves permission to go, okay, there's a part of me that thinks this is all shit, but I'm just going to look at what's there and be a bit more objective about this. And when you do that, often, if not always, you will be surprised at how much closer to completion you actually are, how much better your writing is than you imagine, that you were telling yourself in your mind. We make up all of these stories about how our writing isn't good enough, and they can get louder and louder as we move towards completion. And this is why I feel like it can often be helpful to have somebody else read your writing at this stage, just to go, actually, like, this is pretty much there. Or, give you some notes and feedback around how it lands as a reader. And often, like I say, it's going to be much, much better than you imagined. We can judge ourselves so much. And there are a couple of reasons for this. One is, perfectionism and, having this expectation that whatever we create has to reach this like mythical standard that, I don't know how it would ever reach it, because your book is never going to be perfect. So I just want to say that. I've said it many times to many different authors, many different Unbound writers. It will never reach the standards of some of those parts of you that are always striving for more, always striving for something that feels more perfect. So we have to reach a place where we just allow it to be done, allow it to be good enough. So that can be part of it. That's striving for perfection, but also like resisting completion and being scared of actually saying this is done and sharing it with the world, like allowing your book to go out into the world. It can feel much, much easier to just stay in this continual process of, okay, I'm just going to go through and make some more tweaks, or I'm just going to add this bit in, or I just need to give this another go. Or, even I think I need to start again with this. If we keep ourselves continually in process, we never have to face that fear of sharing our work. And that's whether it's a book, whether it's some other kind of creative project, with the world, with the people who are here to receive it. It can feel much, much safer to just keep, I'm just gonna do this bit. So that's definitely been coming up for me. And I'm sharing it. It feels a bit edgy to share it, that I imagined. There was a part of me, a big part of me, a very loud part of me that was telling me this, the manuscript, is shit. But that's what was there, and that's what can happen. So there's something in like allowing yourself to know, to see that it's already done, or at least like what here is already complete. And then you can go back and, add any bits that you need to and make any final tweaks. But just asking that question, like, what if this was already done? Or what here is already done and complete? And just let it be done. So that is the main message that I have for you today. If you're in this process at the moment, or, whatever stage of your process you're in with your book, you are going to get to a point where you're bringing it together, and it's really helpful to know the kind of BS that can come up. What I've also noticed is like comparing this book, this next book, The Abundant Author, to my previous books. So this will be the fourth one that I've released into the world. Each one has been completely different. In my mind, I was like having this expectation that this one, would be the same as, at least one of the others. And I think with each of the books, actually, as I was bringing them together, there was this sense of, I feel like it could be more in some way. Like, I feel like we always feel that. And I've been feeling it with this one. What I know to be true is once our books go out into the world and connect with our readers, they're the ones who are important, how they experience our books. And we never know how they're going to experience them, like how powerful they're going to find them, how impactful they're going to find them. Because we've been in this process with our books, for a period of months or years sometimes. And sometimes it means that like the energy can go out of it a little bit. You kind of lose that sense of, I thought this was really powerful, but now I'm just not feeling it. And it's because we're so familiar with what we've been writing about. So I've really been feeling that with this one. And that's why it was interesting when I came back to it on my book date the other day. It's like, actually, this is pretty good. It does feel pretty powerful. And there was something for me in letting it be simple, like not having to add a lot more in just because I feel I should, just letting it be what it wants to be. So it's not about a particular number of words. It's not about, oh, I just need to go into more and more detail. It's like, for me, the most important thing about this particular book is that there's space for the reader to have their own process. And it really feels like that's coming together right now. So noticing any sense of comparison that might be bubbling up, either like if you've written previous books or, you would have created other things before, like noticing when you're going into comparison mode or comparing yourself with other people or other people's books. It's like really reining it in, like allowing your book to be what it wants to be, allowing it to be enough. So, like I said, wanted to take you behind the scenes a little bit, share where I am in my process. Of course, I will keep you posted as I move through it and move towards publication. Well, I hope you found that helpful. I always enjoy hearing how other people are navigating kind of challenges, whether it's in terms of their writing, their creativity, or, their business as well. So I hope that has been helpful for you today. I would love to hear what resonated, what landed with you, what bubbled up for you as you were listening. So please do, as ever, reach out, get in touch. You can, find me on Instagram. I'm at Nicola Humber. Pop me a message. Let me know where you are. Let me know if any questions come up for you. Always happy to speak about those or speak to them on further episodes. And I'm going to get back into it. Like I say, aiming to have the manuscript complete by the end of the month. So we'll keep you posted. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you again soon in the Unbound Writers Club. What do you do when you want to write a book, but the usual approaches are leaving you feeling restricted, pressurized, not at all enough, and pretty dry, to be honest? You find another way, of course. And if you are listening to this, my free unconventional book writing guide is going to be perfect for you. It's designed especially for soul-led coaches, healers, and mentors who want to write a transformational book without spending hours on end chained to a desk. In it, I'm giving you my unique spin on the top 10 questions I hear from would-be authors, and it's going to help you liberate the way you write forever. Download your free copy of the guide now over at nicolahumber.com/10, the number 10, 10 hyphen questions.